All right. Good morning / afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Sean, your physical therapy application coach. So excited to have another pre-PT success story and testimonial video with Evonne. Evonne, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Yeah, it's really nice out here in Arizona, and it isn't too hot just yet, which just means it's probably going to be really bad in a few months, but it's okay. We're
Yeah.
doing good.
Yeah.
Evonne, we wanted to give you some time to let people get to know you. You're an awesome applicant. You've got a great story to share with people. Would you mind going ahead and sharing with everybody a little bit about your background, where you're from, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Hi. So I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. Not many people heard of it, but it's right about an hour from Raleigh. And I kind of got interested in physical therapy after I majored in Spanish in college, and I kind of got interested in learning about the underserved populations and kind of how their outcomes are a lot different than people who speak English. So I kind of just got interested in wanting to kind of improve their outcomes and, have somebody that can understand them in order to be successful in, physical therapy. And then also while working as a CNA, I kind of see kind of people's attitudes in an older population change as they get older and they feel like they're limited by their mobility. So I kind of just wanted to be that advocate and just know that, just because you're 86 years old does not mean that you're limited by your ability. You can always do it if you push and motivate yourself.
Awesome. So I think, a lot of stuff to unpack with what you just shared. First of all, how cool is that you just decided of your own accord, be like, oh, I'm just going to learn Spanish and be able to do all these, like, we talked about it in your essay, but tell people a little bit about that program that you put together where you helped some folks, like you helped increase healthcare literacy for Spanish speakers.
Yeah. So with that, I was doing an internship in a clinic, and in that certain clinic, a lot of the Spanish speaking population there have diabetes. So I was tasked with trying to figure out a way to kind of make them understand diabetes more easily instead of using pamphlets that have words that are hard to understand. So I kind of came up with the thing where I kind of made pamphlets that were easier for the Spanish speaking patients to understand and kind of increase their ability to understand that diabetes is a serious condition and that you do have to take care of your body and you do have to exercise, and trying to incorporate kind of like things they can do to improve their diet and exercise through their daily routine. So that's what I kind of did with that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it may not, I think there's almost this, like, oh, this tone of like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. That's a big deal. Like, there's literally people's lives you can save with just that information alone.
Yeah, and it's like, and I noticed like it's very difficult words they use, like in the pamphlets I've seen, like, I mean, some people, they'd be like, oh, my blood sugar is high, like whatever, but they don't really understand, okay, yeah, that's an issue.
For sure. So making it, like, not only making it so it's able to be read and understood, but understanding what the implications are of what you're reading.
Yes.
Awesome. And that's, like, what a boots on the ground project for you to be a part of. And I think that's what makes me excited to see in the future what you can do from a PT standpoint for advocacy for Spanish speakers and other underserved populations, because that's something you're really passionate about. And I think it's fantastic and is definitely obviously a need that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've worked as a CNA.
Mm-hmm.
What made you decide to say, you know what, I want to try this whole PT thing?
I think as a CNA, I know a lot of people, CNAs, we always get that stigma like, oh, you're going to nursing school. And I'm like, no, I'm not really going to nursing school, because I felt like after being in that population, I was like, I like noticed just, nurses, they don't have that interaction with the patient as well as a PT does. Like, I know I can seeing like, in-home PTs come to like the facility I work at. I see a lot of them, they spend that time with the patient more so than a nurse or a CNA does. And I kind of just wanted that interaction to kind of motivate them and push them and like develop that close relationship.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so many applicants are like, that's all we really want, right? To be able to go and actually make an impact, get to know people.
Yeah.
And that's one of the best things about this profession for sure. Okay, so time came for you to apply. You've done all the things, you've done the GRE, you've done all that stuff. Now we're actually getting ready to apply. Talk about that process.
So with that process, for me, that was really difficult. I think it was difficult for me because I didn't really, like, as you mentioned, I didn't really have anybody to help me at all because they were like, I don't know what to do. So it was kind of like at the beginning, I felt like really lost because I was like, I don't know what to do. So, but the process, like, I looked at the essay and I was like, oh gosh, what am I supposed to write about myself? Um, so that's what I said. And then it's kind of like, I was looking up online about like people who like coaches who have like essays. And it's like I saw you and it was like something I was like, I think he's gonna be a good person for me. I don't know. Something I was like my mind
Yes.
with me. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, um, let's walk that back a little bit and go
Mhm.
back to the comment you just made because we were talking before we started the recording.
Yeah.
Um, you're the first person to go and pursue your education like this in your family.
Yeah.
So to the extent that you're comfortable, would you mind sharing with those who may be listening who maybe have a similar type of
Mhm.
experience and they feel like they're kind of a trailblazer in this
Yeah.
area?
So as like in my essay I mentioned probably probably four people in my family have had like a bachelor's degree. Um, and they kind of haven't really done much with the bachelor's degree. So kind of having that experience, not being able to know what to do with graduate degree. I was kind of like a little bit lost, and I didn't really have the resources or I didn't really know anybody who had like a graduate degree. So I think with that sense, I think it kind of gave me a little bit of motivation. Like I could do this. Like, sometimes I felt like I wanted to quit. Like, oh God, why am I doing this? But I think it gave me the motivation to know that I'm doing better than where my childhood was, growing up, not having a lot of money and relying on a lot of resources um, from like state resources. So I think just kind of wanted me to push myself and be a better person.
That's great. Well, and I think props to you because if you don't have the network to get help, you got to reach out, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I was so happy that we were able to get connected with you and just say like, okay, this is how we can handle this. And
Yeah.
there are people that are out there that are willing to help you if you have the desire and you've put in the work like you have. Um, and now we get the fun part of you applied and we worked with you on your essay, but now and we did interview coaching too, right? We did both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did both. Um, so as a result of that, what happened? What's the result of your application?
I got into two schools.
Let's go. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And where did you ultimately decide that you're going?
I'll be attending Bowling Green State University.
Woohoo!
Yes.
That is awesome. And look at you. You are a trailblazer in your family. You are setting a precedent for future generations that people can look up to you if it's, your own children, nieces, nephews, other people that are coming up. Um, and then other people who may watch this video who are like, you know what? If she did it and she got some help and
Yeah.
it's hard to do it by yourself, but if you
It
get a
is.
tribe of people who are going to support you, you can do it. It's definitely feasible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was difficult, especially like with the essays. I mean, when I was like working a lot, I mean, I was still like doing my essays like on my break. I was like, okay, I'm doing my essay. Like, I need to do this. I was like, I gotta finish this essay. Like, I can't just be sitting around doing nothing.
For sure. And I think one of the other things I loved about when I was working with you on your essays is you were the classic undersell of who
Yeah,
you are. You know what I
I,
mean? I was like, Yvonne, look at all these amazing things you've
I know.
done with these underserved populations and like applicants will talk about doing this stuff, but you've actually like done it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Um, and just being able to, without sounding like cocky or conceited or arrogant, just be like, yeah, I've done this. I've helped these people. I want to continue to do things like this in physical therapy. And what a cool story. to be able
Yeah.
to share these experiences that you've had, the value that you've added, all these different things.
Mhm.
So it's been awesome. Really appreciated you sharing your experience with that.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like people should use physical therapy application coach?
I think people should use physical therapy application code because I don't know with you, you have that warm personality. Like I'm just saying, you have that warm personality, and I like how you like. I think that was like with me. I think I need somebody that was going to push me, and you were like, Evonne, you need to write about this, like somebody who's how it is. And that's what I said. I think of people when it comes to the essays, they need somebody that's going to tell you how it is. Like, hey, you need to talk about this. Like, don't undersell you in this. And I think it came out in that paper. It came out in the essay of like who I was as a person, not like generic.
Right. Right. Because the story that you told us in this interview is awesome and
Yeah.
there's a small percentage of people that have done the things that you've done. Right.
Hmm. Yeah.
And as a result of that, like you need to talk about it. That's what's unique about you. That's all that you have to talk about is your own unique life experience. And for you, there's a lot of unique things that you've done.
Yeah.
And so it was just so fun, whether it was with essays or with interviews, like helping you have the confidence
Hmm.
that you definitely have what it takes. You've put in the work. It's
Yeah.
just being able to sell it.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what makes me so sad for so many other applicants is like otherwise very qualified people, but they don't know how to sell themselves as an applicant. And so then they don't get picked.
Yeah.
And it just breaks my heart, breaks my heart. And thankfully that was not you. You got
Yeah.
in.
Yes.
Evonne, what advice would you give to people who are maybe they're in your shoes or they're just a pre-PT who's getting ready to apply this application cycle? What pieces of advice or recommendations would you give to them?
um, the most important advice that I put, if I had to do this over again, I would probably seek out help before the last minute because I remember that time when I was like, okay, I was like, I think I got my essay, like my main essay. And I remember I was like, this sounds so horrible. And I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta ask Sean for help because I don't know what I'm doing. That's it. So I probably tell them to seek out help before it's too late and you're trying to rush and finish the essay. That's what I would do. And start your essays early because you can
I
have a
love it.
lot of essays.
Yeah, you can. You had a ton of,
Yeah.
of essays. Um, so, I mean, just echoing off that, I can't agree more. Like, it is stressful for the applicant and it is stressful for us when you're like, hey, I got to get this done yesterday. And we're like, okay. So, if you are struggling at all with your essays, take Yvonne's advice and just come sooner rather than later. Like, there's
Yeah.
no need to just hit your head against the wall and feel like you're stuck as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Um, well, I love it. So get help early and get help often as you need
Yeah.
it, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, Evonne, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story. I know there's going to be pre-PTs who will watch this and will be inspired by you and will be motivated to go out and to do impactful things like you've done in the community and be a trailblazer in their family. If there's someone who's like, you know what, I don't know if I can go become a doctor of physical therapy. No one else has ever done that in my family. Well, you go do it. You go be the first, right? Um, so thank you so much. Really appreciate you. And like I was sharing with you before we jumped on the interview, don't forget to go back over all those resources that'll
Yeah.
help you as an SPT as you're preparing to be a student physical therapist. Okay.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Evonne. Take care. Have an awesome rest of your weekend. Okay.
You too. Bye.